We should be flagging this with you that this fight is a disgrace and shouldn't be happening.
But I don't understand, on what level? Like, there's no substance to what he's saying. Conor Benn's last two fights have been at what, 154, 155? So, yes, he's moving up two divisions. He's moving up one division from the fights that he's boxed in lately. We understand. This is the first time anyone has mentioned Conor Benn coming up two divisions. So thank you that it's actually the opponent's dad.
Eddie Hearn isn't holding back after Chris Eubank Sr. labeled the upcoming Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight a disgrace. But here's the twist. Hearn doesn't ignore the criticism. He tears it to pieces. Hearn argues that Conor Benn's last two fights were nearly in this weight division, making the outrage pointless. And let's be real, it's not even Eubank Jr. raising concerns. It's his...
So, yes, I do think it's dangerous for Conor Benn to move up two divisions and fight this guy. But what would you say when he beats him? What happens then? So, in my opinion, what's making this fight a 50-50 is the weight. I think Conor Benn is the much better fighter. I think he's better prepared. I think he's much sharper. I think pound for pound he punches harder. But he's at a big disadvantage coming up to 160. And that's what makes the fight a 50-50.
Father, desperately trying to stay relevant. Hearn sees it not as concern, but as sabotage in disguise. Yes, Hearn admits Benn is stepping into danger by moving up two weight classes. But that's exactly what makes this fight so thrilling. While critics call it reckless, Hearn sees it as a bold, legacy-defining moment for Benn. He believes Benn is the sharper, stronger, and more complete fighter, even with the size disadvantage. In his eyes, the only reason people think this is a close matchup is the weight difference, not Eubank's skill level.
For all the promotion, for all the nonsense, for all the crap, you've got two fighters here. Might not be for a world title, but if you want to see a scrap, you're going to see one, because these two like to fight. Look at their careers. They are the fighters. They are the brawlers. They love it. And they only know one way. And that's what's going to happen on April 26th. They're going to meet in the ring, in the center of the ring, and they're going to go off. And that's why the casual fans are going to love this fight. Yes, the
level. Ben Shalom is also making it crystal clear. This isn't just another fight. This is a war. Forget titles and hype. What's at stake are two fighters who refuse to take a step backward. Known for their raw, relentless aggression, these two are set to collide in a battle that promises chaos from the opening bell. No slow starts, no dancing around, just explosive action from the moment the fight begins. When these two warriors clash on April 26th, the atmosphere will be electric. This won't be decided on the scorecards. This is personal. It's not just a bout, it's a full-scale showdown that could shake the foundations of boxing. Meanwhile, Rantan Musa, who recently sparred with Benn, adds fuel to the fire.
Gym, and I only see one side, but I wasn't expecting him to be as strong as he was. And for someone so little, he does pack a punch. And I was I was quite shocked by that. I thought I could potentially just bully him, because being 2-3, probably three, maybe four weight classes above him, I just thought I'd be a bit too big. But yeah, he's very, very good. And I'm quite intrigued.
Coming in heavier, Musa expected to dominate. But Benn flipped the script. His power was brutal, calculated, and far beyond expectations. That sparring session wasn't friendly. It was war. Musa admits he was stunned by Benn's fearlessness and sheer aggression. He didn't look like a man stepping up in weight. He looked like a destroyer. From Musa's perspective, Eubank Jr. is walking straight into a nightmare. Benn isn't just stepping up in weight, he's stepping in to dismantle. Still, not everyone agrees. Adeladepo believes Chris Eubank Jr. is the clear favorite. But with the stakes this high and the fighters this hungry, predictions don't matter.
I think that Chris Eubank is the favourite for the good reason that he's been fought at the higher level and he is naturally the bigger man. But that man Ben has got some ire and got some danger in him, and he will be even more dangerous when that first bell sounds on April the 26th.
April 26th is coming, and it's going to be unforgettable. It's easy to see why Chris Eubank Jr. is considered the favorite. He's faced elite competition and is naturally the bigger man. But don't count out Conor Benn. He's no slouch. Benn brings explosive power that can flip a fight in an instant. When the bell rings on April 26th, expect his aggression to be off the charts. This fight isn't just about size or experience. Eubanks' advantages may not be enough to stop Benn's relentless pressure. The real question is, can Eubank withstand Benn's fury?
I felt sorry for Junior because he is a 34-year-old man at the time. He wants his own thing. His father is always going to be the centre of attention.
Yeah.
I think he's right to make his own decisions.
Simon, I see exactly what you're saying, because Nigel has stood back from Conor's career, and Chris Sr was right in the front at the beginning. And I think it's great that Junior is walking his own path.
So do I.
However, they have had horrendous tragedy.
I know they have.
Or will the younger, hungrier fighter prove too much? Just as the hype was reaching a boiling point, Steve Collins dropped a bombshell that shook the boxing world. In a brutal expose, Collins revealed the inner turmoil that's plagued Eubank Jr.'s career, turmoil rooted in a toxic father-son dynamic. While Nigel Benn stepped back to let his son grow, Chris Eubank Sr. continues to cast a long, controlling shadow over his son's path. Collins didn't hold back. He hinted that emotional struggles are weighing heavily on Eubank Jr., possibly affecting his performance. This bout is no longer just about punches. It's a fight for identity, freedom, and self-determination. Can Eubank Jr. break free from his father's grip?
I think it's going to be a very good fight. Conor has punching power chances. Chris is the bigger guy, so you give Chris the advantage going in because he's the bigger guy. But Conor does have exceptional punching power, so it's going to be a great fight. I think Chris should win the fight. I think Chris should outbox him, outsmart him, but he will have to be smart early because Conor is a great puncher.
Or will he remain trapped in his shadow? Meanwhile, Roy Jones Jr. is calling this a high-stakes chess match that could quickly spiral into chaos. He gives Eubank the edge in skill and size, but he doesn't underestimate Benn's terrifying power. One clean shot from Benn could end everything. Roy warns that the early rounds will be brutal. If Eubank makes one mistake, it could be lights out. While he leans toward Eubank on paper, he knows one explosive moment from Benn could flip the entire fight. The moment of truth is almost here, and anything can happen. If Chris Eubank Jr. slips for even a second, Conor Benn could detonate, and it might be lights out. The stakes have never been higher, but not everyone sees this as a legitimate showdown.
No, I'm not. No, I can't be inconsistent. I can't be dishonest and a hypocrite. I've said from the outset that I didn't like the fight. I felt it was a fight built upon other people's legacies. I understand what it's turned into. I understand the furore and the interest, and I understand the point that Eddie Hearn's making. If you ask Frank Warren what he thinks of it, he doesn't think much of it. People might say that's because he's not involved in it. But I would like to see Conor Benn fighting at 147 and winning a world title in that weight class, and I'd like Eubank, who I think is a brilliant showman and a great raconteur, fighting for a world title at 160 or 168. Not this situation, but each to their own. I don't know. Where are you on it?
Well, where are you on it? Well, it's going to be a massive event.
Simon Jordan doesn't hold back. He calls the so-called super fight a shallow cash grab, built purely on the weight of two famous surnames. According to Jordan, this clash isn't about merit. It's about exploiting hype and nostalgia. He argues Benn has no business chasing catchweight headliners. Instead, he should be fighting at 147, pursuing a world title the traditional way. As for Eubank Jr., Jordan sees him as more of a showman than a serious threat. He believes Eubank belongs at 160 or 168, not tangled up in flashy pay-per-view spectacles that distract from real boxing. Even veteran promoter Frank Warren, known for crafting blockbuster fights, sees through the illusion. He admits the event might be massive in scale, but says it's built more on flash than substance. The real question becomes...
Jr. is his own man, and that's what he's always tried to make out. This is me, this is my career, and this is how I do things. Dad, that was your era, that was your time, blah, 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 let me do this. But I'm sure he'd love to have him sat ringside watching him.
Is this the kind of boxing fans want? Or should the sport demand something more authentic, less about names and more about achievements? On the flip side, trainer Joe Gallagher dug into the psychological war Eubank Jr. is facing. He questioned whether Eubank's desire to step out of his father's shadow is truly genuine. While Eubank insists he's building his own legacy, Gallagher believes he still craves his father's approval, even if he won't admit it. That need for validation, Gallagher suggests, may be weighing on him more than he realizes. This fight is no longer just about belts or weight classes. It's about identity. It's Eubank Jr. battling not just Conor Benn, but his own legacy, his father's shadow, and the pressure to finally stand on his own. Meanwhile, questions...
Just like, has Eubank got enough left in him to deal with someone who's going to be lots of energy? And is he really what he is? He hasn't really boxed at the calibre of Eubank. So it's like, Ben's been calling me out for years. He's the best guy calling people out, not fighting them. I think he's called every person out on the face of the earth and never fucking fought them. And he's just waited out for this Eubank fight. Yeah. But it's fucking funny. It's actually clever.
Questions linger about Ben's credibility. Critics say he hasn't faced opponents at Eubank's caliber. He's known more for calling people out than actually fighting them. Some believe Ben's bark is louder than his bite. April 26th isn't just a fight, it's a reckoning. And both men have far more than just a record on the line. As fans eagerly wait for the Eubank versus Benn showdown, things are heating up outside the ring. Josh Kelly isn't holding back. He's casting serious doubt on whether Chris Eubank Jr. still has enough in the tank to handle the relentless pressure Conor Benn is sure to bring. But interestingly, Kelly isn't sold on Benn either. The real issue, he says, is whether Benn is actually as good as he claims to be. After all, he hasn't faced anyone close to Eubank's level yet.
Eubank says he'll retire if Benn beats him. Can you see where that thought process comes from? Obviously Conor stepping up 2 weights, the amount of bad blood there's been.
Yeah, maybe then you just don't know. Maybe where does he go from there if Conor beats him? I'm not trying to say Conor's any less of him, but yeah, Chris is obviously the guy who should beat him because he's a lot heavier, maybe more seasoned, but you know, it's definitely a 50-50 fight in my eyes. I think Conor's going to beat him. So yeah, you can see where that thought process comes from, but you know, who knows? I know Chris likes to play poker a lot, so maybe comes back for the money or something, don't know.
Kelly also takes aim at Ben's pattern of calling out top fighters without ever stepping into the ring with them. He points out that Benn has spent years issuing challenges, but rarely delivers on them. In Kelly's eyes, Benn is playing the long game. He's keeping the hype alive, waiting for that massive payday. The burning question, is this strategy brilliant, or is it all just smoke and mirrors? When the moment of truth arrives, will Benn finally back up his words, or will he find a way to sidestep the ultimate test? Meanwhile, Darren Till has weighed in, and he's not buying into all the hype either. He finds Eubank Jr.'s bold claim that he'll retire if Benn beats him, both dramatic and telling. While he understands where it's coming from, given Ben's jump in weight and the intense personal history, Till says the fight is far from predictable. To him, this is a true 50-50 bout. Eubank has the size, experience, and chin, but Ben's aggression and explosive style make him a serious threat. Till questions whether Eubank's retirement talk is sincere or just another psychological ploy. Eubank has a long history of mind games, and this could be just that. A high-stakes poker move designed to build tension and boost the fight's profile. So the question remains, if Benn pulls off the upset, will Eubank actually retire? Or is this just part of the game? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Fight Night updates.